Him more. We trust in the Father, and we trust in the Son. We trust in the Spirit, for they are three in one. If we trust in Jesus, then we have one. Sing it if you mean it. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I proved Him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more. Oh, for grace, oh, for grace to trust Him more. Do you trust Him? I hope you do. Sing about that marvelous light. I once was fatherless. I once was fatherless, a stranger with no hope. Your kindness awakened me from my sleep. Your love it beckons deeply, a call to come and die. By grace now I will come and take this life, take your life. Sin has lost its power, death has lost its sting. From the grave you're risen, victoriously into marvelous light I'm running. Out of darkness, out of shame. By the cross you are the truth, you are the life, you are the way. We know that He's the way. My dead heart now is beating. My dead heart now is beating. My deepest aches now clean. Your breath that fills up my lungs. Now I'm free. Now I'm free. My dead heart now is beating. My deepest aches now clean. Your breath that fills up my lungs. Now I'm free. Now I'm free. Sin has lost its power. Death has lost its sting. From the grave you've risen, victoriously into marvelous light I'm running. Out of darkness, out of shame. By the cross you are the truth, you are the life, you are the way. Just like our missionaries brought that light to El Salvador, we need to bring the light to other people, shine our light to them. That's what we're going to sing about right here. Lift my hands and spin around, see the light that I have found. Oh, the marvelous light, marvelous light. Lift my hands and spin around, see the light that I have found. Oh, the marvelous light, marvelous light is Christ in you. Sin has lost He is the way, then we should have a pretty easy decision. That's to follow Him.
Follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back.
The world behind me,
the world behind me, the cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me, no turning back, no turning back.
Decided to follow Him? I hope you have. I can't wait to hear from two people who decided to follow what Jesus was calling them to do. That's exciting. We'll sing, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, holy, holy is He." We're going to sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat.
Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, holy, holy is He. Sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat. sits on Lamb who was slain. Holy, holy is He. Sing a new song to Him who sits on heaven's mercy seat. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. I will adore you.
Clothed in rainbows of living color.
Clothed in rainbows of living color, flashes of lightning, rolls of thunder. Strength and glory and power be to you, the only wise King. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. I will adore you.
Filled with wonder.
Filled with wonder, awestruck wonder, at the mention of your name. Jesus, your name is power, breath and living water, such a marvelous mystery. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. With all creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Creation I sing praise to the King of Kings. You are my everything, and I will adore you. I will adore you.
So, Father, I pray that we would really listen to what it is you have to tell us tonight. God, I pray that we would mean every single word that we just sang, that we adore you, that we have decided to follow you, and God, we are to shine our light to the world so that they can see your marvelous light shining through us. Because God, it is sweet to trust in you. So speak to us tonight. Use these two missionaries. In your name I pray.
Without doubt, we got a couple of missionaries here. We see them and know them as Angie and Ross Taylor. They're just regular people. But they took it into their heart, as that sign out there says, you're now entering the mission field to go. And though the mission field is right here, it's also around the world. And as John said, God touched their heart and a team of other people to go over to El Salvador. And their plans might have turned out to be a little bit different than what God planned, but they have still got an amazing message to give you tonight. So, two of the most dynamic communicators you will ever hear tonight, Angie and Ross Taylor. Come on down. She always looks like an angel, just a little bit more tonight.
Okay, before we get started, I just want to thank those of you who noticed my sense of style tonight, or lack thereof. No, this is not what the ladies in El Salvador wear, but it is what they sell, one of the things they sell in the open market to help provide for their family. And I guarantee you it looked much nicer on the hanger than it does on me.
All right. Everybody knows that we went to El Salvador. A little bit of history of how we ended up there. We went with Living Water International. They are based out of Houston. They are worldwide. El Salvador is simply the country that we chose to travel to. This was my third trip in El Salvador, so I kind of knew the routine, but I knew that this year there wasn't a door open. Through my readings, I ended up in Proverbs 3:6. 3:6 says, all of your pathways submit to him, and he will make all of your pathways straight. It was at that point that I realized that it's not me. It's nothing that I can do to do this. So I just put it back in his hands, and I told him, I want to go, but if it's not your will, it's not to be. I reached out, of course, to Angie, told her what I wanted to do. We were able to put a team together to go down there to do this. First of all, thank the church for all the supplies and all the prayers. We definitely needed all that while we were there. Living Water International is a turnkey, basically. You pay your money and you go. And it's that simple. You get your airplane tickets and you hope someone's on the other end. And luckily they were. I'm going to turn it back over to Angie now. This was her first trip, and then a whole lot more exciting. This is a picture of the El Salvador flag. This is an area of El Salvador, which is South America. This is actually the country of El Salvador. Everybody knows you got to start with a plane.
Yep, we flew out of Lubbock to Houston. Oh, we're going to skip that and go straight to the picture of, this is the team that we went with. On the back, we've got Justin and Brother Matt, and Andrew, Ross, and then Landon, and then me, and Lee, and Donna. This is our team of 8. The men did the well work, and the women did Bible classes and hygiene classes while they were working in the well. Like I said, we went from Lubbock to Houston, and from Houston to El Salvador, and like he said, you hope there's somebody on the other end. We stood for a little while waiting for our ride to come get it, and it was hot, very hot. This is the resort, which is a fancy Motel 6, basically. I mean, it was nice for El Salvador. It's beautiful. I guess I could turn around and look at the pictures you're looking at. And this is where we stayed. And then we would get up in the mornings, and we were right on the beach. We got up in the morning, then we rode to our destination, to the villages that we were working in. There was another group there. This is some of our guys, but there was another group there from Texas A&M, all girls. They went one direction and we went another. And those girls, they did find water. We didn't. And Ross will tell you more about that when we get to that. This is when we got to our village of San Romero, and they were excited. They were excited that we were there. They greeted us with balloons, and they didn't quite know how to. They were a little shy, and we were too to begin with. This is some of the people that were there. greeted us. And then we took a village or a community walk where they showed us where they're getting their water from currently, and showed us their water wells that they had. And they had 3, am I right, Ross, that they showed us. So we walked around from about a mile maybe, and along the road they showed us their prizes, their animals. This is the pastor of the church that invited us. I'm not sure. Is that one of their wells? Okay, that's one of their wells.
Okay, now we're inside of a standard kitchen. This is your corn grinder. The previous was the water well that's also inside the kitchen. These wells are hand dug. They're about 3 feet across and they're about 40 feet deep. There's a very simple bucket. Throw the rope down and remove the water. This is your normal oven and your normal cooktop, wood-fired cooktops inside this kitchen. And there's the water out of the well.
Yeah, some of us got to take turns bringing a bucket of water up out of the well, and then we dumped it over into the cistern so that the community could come and get it. So this water was not clean. And we took our own water for cooking and drinking while we were there. But this is along the way. We visited. You see the little boy there with the balloons, and that's Lee visiting there with some of the people in the community. And this is also in the kitchen where they were preparing a meal. Yeah, that's an average house. I know it doesn't look like a house, but that was an average house in this community where we were at. Okay, he just said a wife, a husband, and 6 children live inside in this house. It's not a very good picture, but that's the inside of the house. And there's one of the ladies that was on the walk, the community walk. Another shot of where they were getting their water from. Some of the kids. Okay, I want you to notice this big chicken coop here. On a couple of the days that we were there, we ate, what would you say, downwind from this chicken coop. We ate outside, and they cooked outside, and the chickens are over here, and we're over here eating, and you can imagine what it smelled like. But we were very grateful because they sacrificed a lot to feed us, and it was very nice of them to do that for us. We were very appreciative. And this is the well. This is the stream where the water for the current wells comes from. We had tippy taps. We set up our tippy taps where we set an example for them how we would always wash before we ate or after we handled anything that wasn't sanitary, so that they would see what they needed to be doing. Because the main thing we were there to do, besides trying to find them water, was to teach them sanitation and to teach them about Jesus.
The drilling rig, we were there, of course, to drill a water well for the city of San Ramon. When we got the location, day one, the rig is rigged up and we're ready to water it. This is a picture of the rig. Now, the lifestyles of Salvador are a little more laid back. If you're there within 4 hours, you're on time. So it's extremely laid back. And they're never getting in a hurry on anything. We got out that morning. We got the rig set up. We were ready to drill. It was lunchtime, so we took a break for lunch on this day. And we got 8 quick, maybe 20 minutes ready to go to work. And we turned to our driller, we're ready to go back to work. And he says, let's take a break. One of the guys that was with us turned to me and said, "What are you going to do?" And the driller told him, "I'm going to take a nap." So, okay, whatever. So he kind of wandered off. In a little while, he came back over there to us. And he asked me, "Where did the driller go?" And I said, "He's in the van taking a nap. He told you he was taking a nap." The ladies fed us every day in the village. And it's not until the day that they left that they actually told us that we needed to understand that most of the food that we would eat inside the village, the families would have to sacrifice because they didn't have enough food to feed us and themselves. So in order to feed us, they had to go hungry.
This is a shot of some of the work the boys were doing when they were drilling, and I'll let Ross tell you more later about the drilling, because I think some of you have probably already heard me say that we did not find water. Well, we didn't successfully complete a well, let's put it that way. We rode about an hour every day to get to the village of San Romero, and we had to go through some road construction. And I'm not real sure, this just is down the road, headed to. And then these are some of the ladies and some of the kids that were in our Bible story and hygiene classes. We did, we had a translator because the three ladies, Donna, Lee, and I, none of us spoke Spanish. And so we had a translator that would translate everything we said and then would tell us what they said. So it was kind of interesting. You know, you would say, you know, this is how you brush your teeth, and then the translator would tell them this is how you brush your teeth, because we did hygiene classes and taught them how to brush teeth. And Dr. Colley provided us with toothbrushes and toothpaste, and we were very thankful for that to take with us. So we were able to give everybody toothbrushes and toothpaste and floss. They like to get gifts. They really enjoyed the gifts. But we did, in our hygiene classes, we did teeth, and we talked about clean water and germs and keeping your hands clean, staying hydrated, and nutrition. And we didn't just talk to them. We played games with them, and we did crafts with them. But then we'd also do Bible stories, and there'll be pictures at the Bible story time, where we talked. One of the stories was about Jesus washing the disciples' feet, and we did the parable of the lost sheep, and then we made the little the salvation color bracelets with them, and explained that to them. One of the advantages to this trip, and some of the trips that Ross has taken before were different, but on this trip, the majority of the people we were working with were believers. So it wasn't like we went in to a group that had no idea who God was or who Jesus was. They knew. And they were very appreciative of us being there, and they ministered to us as much as we ministered to them. When we did the Bible story for Jesus washing the disciples' feet, afterwards, then we ladies washed their feet as an example to them. And when we got finished, I remember, well, let me back up. When we were washing their feet, you know, you would think that would be difficult. A lot of these ladies, some of them didn't wear shoes, and those that did were wearing sandals, and we're talking very dirty, muddy roads. I mean, so their feet were not clean. And you would think that would not be the easiest thing in the world to do. But it was a very humbling experience. I remember kneeling over these feet and washing them and being very grateful that I had this opportunity to do this. It was very humbling. Well, when we finished, they came back, and through the translator, they told us they wanted to wash our feet. Okay, there the tears started, because this was on our first day. This was just, it was something else. I don't even know how to explain it to you, how humbling that was. So they removed our socks and our shoes and washed our feet, and then gave us their towel that we had given them to dry our feet. And then the lady who did mine wouldn't even let me put my own socks and shoes back on. She put my socks on me. She put my shoes on me, and she tied them for me. So, you know, we went there to minister to them. They turned around and ministered to us. It was just very uplifting. Okay, I think this is where Leah's helping make the tortillas. We had tortillas every day. Every day. Yep. See, there's the tortillas. Russ, Shannon, that's what they're supposed to look like. And one day we had a chicken soup. And apparently Ross really liked it because he took a close-up picture of it. Okay, then this picture, those are not rabbits. Those are sheep that the kids are making masks, sheep masks. We have the story of the lost sheep, the parable of the lost sheep. And so then they made a sheep mask to help them remember the story. And it wasn't just the children. We had little bitties all the way up to older ladies that were making them. Yeah, this is Kevin. Kevin didn't talk much, but he had my name down. Angie. Angie. He could say that. And he said it very regularly, too. Some more pictures of the guys working on the well, because we were over in one area and they were in another, and they got a little dirty.
On this one, we actually managed to break the rig on this day. That's a picture of the guys gathered around the rig trying to get it reassembled. It was about this time that we decided that the well we were currently pursuing would not have enough water to complete. This is day 3, and if we don't move the rig today, there won't be enough time to complete the second well. While attempting to remove the bit, we actually broke the rig and trying to get it out. We later did get that rig repaired and get it rigged down and scooted over. As we did that, the girls, of course, continued their Bible lessons and hygiene.
Yeah, we started in one location because the guys wanted to keep us close to where they were at. So when they moved to start drilling in another area, they moved our location for doing our Bible classes and our crafts too. And so it's like pick up everything and move. And we did. And we didn't go that far, really. Yeah, they got a little dirty, and they washed off before we let them back in the van to go back to the resort. There was one day when Donna and I made bracelets with the children, or the ladies, while Lee and the translator were doing a craft with the kids. And she's showing you her bracelet there. It must have been the same day we did the parable of the lost sheep, because they're holding their sheep masks too. When we got back over there, we had to we had to dig.
Okay, the second site was not prepared for us, so when we needed to move the rig, we had to level the ground. They chose to put the second well right at the edge of the road for easier access for everyone in the community. They had to bring the backhoes and equipment in, of course, to make this happen. So we spent half the day watching the backhoe work. Later, as the backhoe got it cleared, the second rig came in. We rigged it up and, of course, began drilling on the second hole. Very limited time on the second hole. We've got less than 3 days to complete it. At this point, we're not even real sure if there's going to be water. We know from the previous one that water is weak, and we moved the rig less than 2 blocks. So we're not far from the last attempt. But again, in order to keep us closer to the Bible study hygiene, we needed to stay within the same area.
Every day while we were getting our craft stuff ready, the kids would either read books or play games or something. They were really good at keeping themselves entertained until we were ready to, till we were ready to start the class. And so that's what they were doing there. If you look in the background, you can see on that other picture, some of them looks like they're playing kickball or something back in the back. We had balls and jump ropes and frisbees and things to play with them. And I don't know if we've got a picture of it in ours or not, but somewhere there's a picture of Brother Matt from First Baptist jumping rope. I think they made a little booklet. I think this was the day that Lee and the translator Marcella worked with the ladies, and Donna and I were jumping rope and playing frisbee and Brother Matt, and playing frisbee with the kids while they were doing that.
On the second well, there was 70 feet of solid rock. And understanding how wells work, we weren't positive what would be under it. Again, we broke this rig once, attempting to get through the rock on the drill. At this point, we have realized that the second well is not going to have any water. We had reached 200 feet on both wells. Well, it was 2 failed attempts. And at this point, the only thing left to do is pick our toys up and go home. We've run out of time, so we've got to load everything up and get it back to the local house. This is a picture as they broke the word to the ladies at the Bible study.
And then again, this was another time where it was just amazing. The translator did all the talking. So Lee, Donna, and Donna wasn't there that day. It was me and Lee. We didn't know what she was saying, but we knew what she was telling them. She was telling them that we've tried twice. We can't find water, or we're not going to be successful in getting a well. And thankfully, as I told you before, these people knew Jesus. They're believers. And they knew that it wasn't in our hands. That there wasn't anything that our boys had done that kept them from finding water. They were still thankful we were there. And in fact, after Marcella told them, however she said it, we don't know what words she used, but after she told them that there was not water, they said, let's pray. We prayed, and then they wanted to hug us. And so, they were just, it seemed like hundreds of them, but it really wasn't that many, 30 or 40 ladies and children hugging on Lee and me. And then she said, I can't remember this lady's name, but she was one of the main ladies there. There were so many I couldn't keep their names straight. But she said, now we're going to worship. We're going to sing praises. And she put on her prayer shawl or prayer covering, and she pulled out a hymn book. And they sang 1 or 2 songs in Spanish. And then Lee and the translator and myself, we sang a song for them in English. And then Lee she does sign language, and she signed to a song. But there were tears flowing, but there was not angry tears. It was a fellowship. It was very sweet fellowship. Even though we were disappointed, it was a sweet time. And here they're loading up. We got stuck in the mud because it had rained that night or the night before, and so we had a little bit of trouble getting our equipment out. It took a while to get the equipment out. And Ross was not there this particular day, and he'll tell you about what he was doing. So while the guys were getting the equipment loaded up and everything, the pastor loaded us up in the back of the truck and took us about a mile down the road. And it wasn't a straight road. We had to go all kinds of ways to get there. Took us and showed us his church. And this is their church. You'll notice the front is open, and that will stay open for ventilation purposes. But the back wall that's missing, they were in the process of putting the wall up. They had the materials, but they stopped so that the men in the church could help our guys when they got there with the work on the water well. So I'm sure by now it's been put, the walls have been finished, and they have just stackable chairs that they get out and a dirt floor. But that's where they worship. And that is the pastor that's standing there. And 2 of the ladies that cooked for us. And then Ross has got a bunch of pictures of the children. This is Maria. She's the only one whose name I can remember, but she was the only little blondie. But they were all just precious. Every afternoon, Justin, I don't know how many of you know Justin Rodriguez, but he loves kids. And every afternoon, Justin would bring out his backpack, and he had bought them all cookies. And they looked forward to Justin handing out his cookies every afternoon. And so got some shots of the kids eating cookies. Another one showing her bracelet to us. That young lady in the black right there who doesn't look older than 12, she really was older than 12. That's Maria's mom. They were just precious. These children, just all of them, just as sweet as they could be. And they loved to give hugs. and they loved having their picture made. Some of them had been to school, and then they came in the afternoon. And there's Kevin again. And like I said, Kevin didn't talk much. And there's the chicken I was telling the ladies in the kitchen about. That thing was huge. They're very proud of their livestock. They wanted us to see their livestock. They did have a lot of animals that were just roamed, dogs, cats, chickens. They were all over the place. Every morning we prepared ourselves before we left with a devotional time. And Andrew and Landon led in the music. And then a different person from either our group or for the girls from A&M would lead in the devotional time. And this is Armando, okay. And he would tell us what our plans were for the day. And I think this is the part where Ross went to do some repairs.
On the fourth day I was there, they asked for 3 volunteers to leave the drill site and go out on pump repairs. Not understanding what I was getting into at the time, Living Water is having trouble doing well maintenance in El Salvador. It's real easy to get teams together to go down and drill, but it's harder to get them to go back down and do maintenance. So they had asked for volunteers to go across and help do maintenance. As we pulled into this community, we were probably 2.5, 3 hours from the drill site. My mother, Donna, and Matt went with me on the volunteer. Basically what we did when we got to the well is remove the rods and pipe, repair the check valves, and reinstall so the community would have water through their well. This is a picture of the lady who owned the land that the well was on. Its pump was set at almost 150 feet. Of course, everything's done by hand. We climbed through and took stuff apart. Probably by the time we got stuff ready, 9:30, we were actually pulling. We had everything done. We were ready to set stuff back, and they had prepared lunch. So, of course, we had to stop and eat lunch. Literally, we were 20 minutes from being done, but we took an 1.5-hour break so we could eat. But that's okay. This village actually had electricity. They were in the process of getting an electrical pump for their well, but the community wasn't agreeing with each other on who would pay the bill. So for the meantime, it had been left as a hand pump. No different than a revival. Not as many people showed up, but there were a good many of the community that showed up to help us with well repairs. We presented them with written literature. I'm not positive what it was. Of course, it was in Spanish, but it was some sort of a coloring book for the kids and some sort of a written Bible for the adults. Of course, anybody that showed up, we always made sure that someone got something. 3 of the elders of the community, of course, pumping water with the well after the repair. And then we had to get everybody around it for lots of pictures. This community actually had the money after Living Water well had left to build the cage or the fence around it to protect the well. And they were pretty happy because they had running water again. They were having to walk about 2 miles to their closest water source when this well went down. In visiting with them, there were also 3 other wells in the area, but none of them worked, so they were having to go back to the river.
I think this is just a picture of when we got back to the resort. It was just beautiful. The beach was gorgeous there. And that is also taken from the resort at night, and it was really pretty. And then here's the whole group. This is going to be our 8 on our team, plus the 7 or 8 that with the girls from A&M who did find water in their community, and then our translators and our the in-country staff that live there full time and do this for a living, on a regular basis. And I think Ross must have had some aerial shots. And we were back to Houston, back to Lubbock, and back home. It was The trip was an amazing trip. I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity to do this again or not, but I was very blessed to have gotten to go, and I thank you who prayed for us while we were gone, and for those who supported us in other ways. There were financial contributions, and there was donations of supplies, because we took a lot of craft materials and things with us too. And even if we didn't use what we took, we left so they could be used at a different, because they do a well every week, at least one or two every week. Very seldom do they have a week that they don't at least attempt to drill a well. And I think for the most part they're usually successful, am I right? They haven't had that many dry holes. So anyway, I can't speak for Ross, but for myself, it was a very uplifting and humbling experience, and I hope I have an opportunity to go again, and if I do, I'm going to. And I know Ross is planning to go again. He wanted to be gone this month. He wanted to go in November, but it didn't quite work out that way. So he wants to go back and do some more repairs. So, anyway, we appreciate y'all. And the kids have prepared some food from El Salvadorian recipes. And I'm not really sure. The stew is a chicken leg stew, I think Shannon said it was called. And it's not something that Ross and I ate while we were there. But we did eat chicken. We ate a lot of chicken while we were there. And there's some papusas, which is a tortilla with cheese and bean in it. And they're pretty good. In fact, tomorrow is National Papusa Day in El Salvador, so enjoy your papusa tonight. And then I think they've done some fried plantains, which Ross didn't like, and I would eat off his plate every morning at breakfast because he didn't like them, and I did. So anyway, we appreciate y'all being here, and we hope that you learned a little bit about El Salvador and about what we did while we were there.
And as we say, not everybody's got the call on their life to go, but if you do, Angie and Ross will be out there in the fellowship to talk to you about taking a mission trip to El Salvador, or how you can help. How you help pray, how you can help monetarily, how you can help get a crew together to go. And so I know you're ready for the cuisine out there that has been prepared, and there's plenty of it. So we're going to ask that you would stand up. Grab a hand. We're going to bless this meal before we go. And we would love for our seniors and our guests to go first. And then the rest of the Calvary family and the children and all them after that, okay? Father, we come before you tonight, and we do thank you for all the missionaries that have gone abroad. For all the missionaries that have walked right here on our soil in the United States. For every person who says, I want to help. And so your word says go into all the world, but that's right outside these doors. And so, Father, every one of us is a missionary in our homes, on our streets, in our schools and works. And so, God, we do thank you for every heart that goes all the way around the world. Thank you for bringing Angie and Ross and their team back safely. And I know you had a different plan for them. And so, God, it wasn't as if it didn't work. It just worked out differently. So, Father, for this food that's been prepared tonight, may it be strength to the bodies that will eat it. Thank you for the hands that prepared it. And may we fellowship and rejoice in your name. And everybody said, Amen.
Let's eat.